Hi, and welcome to this webinar about our new product called My Self-Service Portal. And actually, we can just start from the beginning why we even are at this point having this kind of solution available. We've been around for quite some time. Upstream is the Kaseya distributor for Scandinavia, and I've personally been working with Kaseya since late 2005 or something like that. And we are also very active in a community of Kaseya, and actually we are the ones delivering the very popular upstream power pack. So we have been gathering quite some feedback over the years in terms of how you as an MSP utilize Kaseya. And one of the things that always come up is how can we make the end user experience a more convenient? How can you use Kaseya to actually let the users decide for themselves what to do? And I think we actually nailed it in this kind of product we have delivered here, tightly integrated into Kaseya VSA. First of all, as I mentioned, we noted something missing in the MSP customer support experience, and that's what we see out there is mainly this kind of experience. You have like a form to enter an email and state your problem, or not even that, maybe just a link to a team viewer and just send an email to the support box. But we think it's time to actually raise the bar and do a little bit more with what we can do with the power of Kaseya. So we would like to coin the term self-service automation in the Kaseya space. First of all, it's a much more pretty looking interface for the end user to request either support or self-services or anything that can be automated or can be easily set up in a workflow. But it's also something that will benefit you as an MSP. If you look at the features and benefits in general, we can actually pinpoint a couple of them right now. We absolutely can let users solve complex problems with the Power Automation. Of course, in the backend, we have the Kaseya VSA with all the powerful scripts you can do. We can auto-categorize tickets for deep statistics, meaning you will get proper ticket information into the support. That will eventually be a trigger for higher support efficiency. We will integrate, or we are integrating with the existing PSA and ticketing system. We are able to make a fully brandable and with your logo and company colors in the portal itself, so you can do your own customization. We believe that we can, with this solution, deliver off-hour support and weekend support with mundane tasks that actually the users themselves can solve. So how does this work in the end? We have set up an Azure web platform stuck in between of your Kaseya VSA and the end user. That's presenting more or less a web interface for the end user to select certain kind of request. Can be a problem, can be application deployment, can be anything in terms of what you decide to post on the page. The cool part is that the end user do not need to log on. The Kaseya agent on the machine authenticates towards your portal and the Kaseya VSA. If the user requests something, like in this case, in this image here, Firefox, Azure web portal in this case will trigger the Kaseya APIs, and we have an agent procedures library within the Kaseya, your Kaseya system. And that will, as a last step, trigger the Kaseya agent on the user's machine to actually, in this case, deploy Firefox. So that can be a simplified use case. We do not end there. Just by deploying something doesn't mean that it actually works. We always ask the user if the problem is solved or the problem remains, meaning they can decide for themselves if they think the solution has been automated or not. But automation is just one thing. Of course, if problem remains or you have tickets that will not be able to be automated, you can of course create workflows for that. You can trigger email-based tickets from the user interface through the Azure web portal and back to the either PSA or ticketing system you're using. I'm going to show you later on how that works. So, product demo. This screen shows you now the portal itself. You can take a notice of that you actually have the icon over here. That's something you can push out with Kaseya. We deliver all the scripts needed for pushing out the agent and setting up the portal itself. We do deliver like policies for Kaseya, so you can easily just drag policies to each of the customers that you would like to enhance with this kind of user experience. We are utilizing a web browser. It's a web browser portal. In this case, we are forcing the portal to be using Edge because that's something that are available on each of the machines, modern operating systems. So take a look at a couple of use cases. First of all, very slick looking. We don't invest much in having like icons everywhere, and we went for a quite Google look and feel. On the right side up here, we have a message box, meaning that you can create notes for end users, and this is a generic note, so you can just make useful broadcast of information. Okay, a couple of use cases. So let's say that you have a problem with the printing on your machine. I'm the end user in this case, and I'm having the Kaseya agent on my machine, and I'm hooked up with the portal in this case. I need help with printing, and it's a shared office printer. Maybe, yeah, I can't find my network printer perhaps. As you can see here in this case, I don't have a printer called Hallway. So try to solve the problem. In this case, we're kicking off a specified Kaseya agent procedure to actually map that printer that we are missing. Off we go, and you can see it's quite fast. I mean, it takes around 3 seconds for the API to actually invoke the script on the machine and push it out to the Kaseya agent itself. So we are popping up a friendly notification for the end user that we actually have mapped up the Hallway A4 printer and it's now ready for printing. And we have also sent out a test page for you to just verify that the printer is up and running. So is that problem solved, you think? Yeah, I'm happy with it. Okay, glad to help. Have a nice day. So that's one use case. A second use case can be a very, very popular one. I need help with my computer. I need help with a password perhaps, and even, yeah, I cannot log on to Office 365. In this case, we can semi-automate things. We are helping the end user to get to the correct page in this case. So we're forcing the user to, or recommending more or less, the user to get to this Microsoft Online password reset page. So the user are happily typing in their information and reset their password, and yeah, the problem is solved. I'm happy with it. The third option could be like this. Let's say that you have remote desktop services for your customers, and I need help with my computer. I need help with an application because we think about a remote desktop as it should be an application in this case. My remote desktop connection is for some reason not on the desktop. So if I press on this one and try to solve the problem, you can notice up here that we will push out the remote desktop for this specific customer with a defined correct server to connect to. Yeah, there you go. Okay. We can try to connect and verify. Before we even press problem solve or problem remains, we rather try to test connect, right? So see how it goes. Oh man, that didn't go very well. Okay, not everything can be automated, right? So in this case, we rather press the problem still remains. We made the icon, we made the remote desktop connection up and running, but let's go and take a look at the problem remains part. Here, we can populate the message here with the suggestions to help us speed up this request. Please tell us a little bit more about your setup. Do you know the server name, or do you you're trying to connect to? Are you using any VPN? Are you getting any error messages of some sort? Yeah, actually, I did get an error message, right? So if I run for this one again, I did get this error message, right? So let's take a picture of that problem. Now we're invoking an on-premises application on the machine that has been pushed out from the portal, meaning you will get this screenshot app available when you push out any customer that you want to have the portal enabled on. So take a screenshot of that. Yeah, looks good. Yeah, this is okay. I go for that. Yeah, because we are Swedish, we like to have Swedish names on things. So yeah, cannot connect to the server Astrid. Create a ticket. As you can see, the email here is already populated with my email. That's because of it remember who I was before. Remember that we spoke about we do not need to authenticate ourselves as an end user using the portal. It's actually the Kaseya agent that do all the authentication. But we still need to have some sort of an email. So this is the email that will be the sender of the ticket. So create a ticket, off you go. While that ticket is sending away and creating a ticket in our ticketing system, we can take a look at a couple of other examples how to make the life easier for an end user. We have something we call quick tips. Quick tips is more or less like short text, how to explain stuff that you would do anyhow in the support manner. Like if I would like to have help with and have an iPhone. We don't have an agent on the iPhone, of course, so we cannot do that kind of level of automation, but still we can help people with these kind of problems. My phone is not charging. Yeah, it could be a common thing. These kind of texts should be short. That's why we call them quick tips. It should not be like a half an hour YouTube video or half a novella. Stuff that are easy to read and quick to just verify if the problem is solved or the problem remains. Yeah, actually, that helped a lot. That's solved for now. So one last thing about creating tickets, if you go outside of the automation, you can go bananas with automation in terms of having Kaseya, making agent procedures kick and run on any machine. But let's take a look at a normal ticket, just a normal plain ticket without automation. Maybe I have a tonal low. Maybe the monitoring system had not picked up that actually black toner is low or empty. So if I would like to report back as a user that I have a black toner low or empty, we can help the user in this case with much as you saw with the remote desktop connection here to help the user fill out more information. So all the gray text you can see here is suggestions, what we would expect the end user to fill in when they're creating the support ticket. Yeah, so it's an HP something. That's okay. So let's create a ticket. Off we go. Now we have created at least 2 tickets today, and take a look at the inbox for that specific account. You can see. Here we go. Here's the black toner we just created, HP something. The cool part with this kind of email is that you get so rich information about the end user or the machine itself. You can see that it's that agent, that's Kaseya agent, that's the customer. This is the end user, of course, that's the end user sending in the email. You have a categorization, you have all the sub-level of categories you have chosen, all the way down to the black toner low or empty. And you even have the user message, and they have been kindly entering the HP something here, so you can solve that problem quite easily. So if you take a look at other kind of the remote desktop problem we just announced here, there we have the screenshot of the problem that we sent in before. We have the machine, the same machine, of course, it's my machine, and same user. But there you have a very neat and good-looking ticket request. And that can be mapped into a PSA or ticketing system by just looking at the different kind of subcategories. So that means that you can auto-categorize your tickets. That's rather cool. If you take a look at the back end then, back end of the system itself, if you log on as an administrator on the portal, you will get this kind of interface. So first of all, what you saw in terms of automation before is this is where you create your automation categories and problems. A category is, of course, something that have multiple problems or ticket requests within itself. So you can create multiple categories. You can create within that multiple problems and start editing those. You can even drag and drop the kind of categories to wherever you want to in that perspective. So take a look at the shared office printer in this case. We had a problem with I can't find my network printer before. So that's a problem. A problem is defined as either creating a ticket, or in this case, this very cool case is that you can actually pinpoint a specific agent procedure within a shared folder that we are specifying in the settings tab. So this is actually all the scripts available in that specific shared folder. So you can just tie each of these to a specific problem. And that's where the power of automation comes in. You can create endless of automation tasks for end user to choose from. And they don't even have to be a local admin to make this work. That's also really good. But there are other options to create tickets. If you go back to the iPhone thing here we spoke about before, the iPhone not charging, that's something we call a quick tip or a user instruction in this case. That's the text you saw just be showed up when you chose the ticket request. So you can create and customize whatever you want. One more obvious thing is I have a message on my screen. Of course, if there is a problem you cannot understand, like a pop-up screen or something, you can, of course, create a plain ticket. You can also decide in any kind of ticket creation if the screenshot tool should be enabled or disabled. You saw on the iPhone part, it was actually disabled. There's no point having a screenshot tool on an iPhone request. So in this case, we have enabled the screenshot tool, and we also made it mandatory, meaning you actually have to create a screenshot to even be able to send in the ticket. So very, very easy to set up this kind of workflow. We are providing a basic workflow to start with, what we consider is the best practices workflow. We have been tinkering with that quite some time. To start with that is something that are included in the product. The notification part, here you can set up the message box you saw on the right corner up in when the user was entering the portal. You can set up time-based notifications, meaning they have lifespan, how long they should live. So you can create, like for a weekend, if you have server maintenance for a weekend, you can have it pop up at Friday and get removed on Saturday or Sunday evening. I'm going to jump over statistics and take that as the last thing. Language. We have, of course, the availability to create translations, and it's super easy. We have the English version. The portal itself is always based on English at first, so you can create all the customer-facing the text to any language you want to. In this case, in Spanish. It's easy as pie. Settings, we have, of course, the possibility to make your portal look more like your own. Colors, header, footer, and such. We even have customized themes that you can choose and pick and go advanced and go nerdy on the color and start to change the different kind of colors available. On the footer page, you can set up your contacts and social media stuff. Help desk will be actually the email part, how it will send email to your support system and what is the email sender. We have the procedures. The procedures are placed in a fixed folder at the shared part of the procedures. That means that if you put in every new script you put in that folder will be recognized by the portal, and it will be available to select when you create a problem tied to automation. And last part, statistics. This is where you will track your automation success. If you look at upstream in this case, this is basically what you will get from day one and forward. We will track everything that have been a success or failure in terms of automation. You can see that we actually tried 6 successful automations with network printers today. And if you go back and take a look at other, like a 7-day or 30-day period, you can just choose and pick. And you can even choose what customer you would like to choose from. So if you take a specified customer, you can see that the statistics change. You can export this into a CSV file to manipulate all the rich data we provide to your need and create reports upon it. Cool. That's basically what I would like to provide today in this webinar. This is a sneak peek of what we have done over the year, and it's ready to go and available today, meaning it's just a matter of contacting us if you would like to have any more information about it. So let's go with the end of the slides here. Roadmap. That's a normal question we get, and that's something we're going to be quite open with. There's no point not being open with roadmaps nowadays. We have a continuous development plan with feature voting, of course, very popular among vendors today. We have a continuous development, meaning that as it is a cloud service, we will do this quite rapidly. For instance, a couple of things we know we have to do in coming autumn is that we have a privileged portal logon for your customer's IT contact or manager, meaning that they can add new employees and add services or request services or add request computers with an ordering forms standard, more or less. We also will provide multiple email destinations for maybe a test routes to actually have some CIO or CTO to attest the purchases you need to do. We'll have a deeper integration with specifically Kaseya BMS. We, of course, will have more searchable categories and problem lists in the UI and UI enhancements in general, to be honest. It's rather slick right now, but it can always be better. We will have OS X support with complete desktop screenshot app, as you saw before, and that's also been heavily requested. At the end, we will, of course, have APIs for accessing all the user statistics, maybe with BrightGauge or something that we would like to present the data from with the level of success you do with automation. So pricing. Pricing is quite easy. We are agent-based. We are defining our agents or licenses. Any user enabled to use the portal is a license. So every time we handshake a new machine to the portal that you do, it's up to you to decide. it will enable a license on our case. So every user enabled to use the portal is licensed. Currently supporting Windows 10, 8.1, 8.1, and 7. It's a month-to-month subscription, tier-based. We are starting from €1 per agent per month with a minimum amount of agents, 100. And we have an onboarding fee for €300, and that's something that's a necessary thing. Setting up the portal, setting up the best practices, getting up and running with education, web education and such. So that's something we need to do. All of this information and more can be available. You can read about it in myselfserviceportal.com, and we are happy to get email for questions about when to start the portal. msspsales@upstream.se, msspsales@upstream.se, as described here. That's also available on the web page. And the last thing, we actually going to be in Kaseya Connect in Vegas this year, and we have a booth. So it would be awesome to see any of you visiting Kaseya Connect to talk to us about it. So great, thank you. I think we are wrapping this up. Bye-bye.